This video is sponsored by Squarespace. You can make your own beautiful website or online store with this all-in-one platform. I have a lot of colored pencils. If you're anything like me, you've been collecting art supplies for many years. I think some of my oldest colored pencils are from like 2013, probably maybe 2012. Around the time where I first started my YouTube channel and when I first started getting into art. I decided recently that I want to try out some new colored pencil brands, and I might say pencil crayon a lot in this video just to clear up any confusion. That's how it's sort of called in Canada. So pencil crayon, colored pencil, all the same thing here. My two main brands of colored pencils that I mostly use are the Prismacolor Premier and the faber-castell Polychromos. I also have a decent collection of Lyra Rembrandt Polycolor pencils that I got in a Christmas gift many years ago. I found a bunch of faber-castell Goldfaber pencils and Sketchbox Signature and Krita color. There's also some chameleon ones that have two colors, one on each end. I found like 3 Tombow pencils, which I really like one of the colors in particular. It's like a coffee milk chocolate brown. And I also have a bunch of Prismacolor Verithin pencils, which are basically the same range, the same sort of quality as the Premier ones, but they're a harder lead and advertise for finer details, and I use them very rarely. And I think those are all the random brands that I discovered while organizing. In a recent video, I asked for your recommendations on different colored pencil brands that I should try and what your favorite ones are. And I actually went out, well, I didn't go out, I went online and I ordered about 12 to 13 of the same sort of color range from a bunch of different brands of pencil crayons, and I'm going to be comparing all of the different types of pencils that I own in an upcoming video. But this video, I am organizing all the ones I currently have, sorting them by brand, by type, and I found a lot of hidden gems that I did not realize were in my arsenal. Like, I kept finding a bunch of Derwent light fast pencils that I already had. I found 5 colors that I just bought, so now I have 5 duplicates of the Derwent light fast pencils, and those are like $5 each Canadian, which is not cheap, and I already had them, but it's fine. I will use them. And before I dive fully into the new ones that I purchased, I wanted to organize my collection, like I said, and do a couple of tests with the ones that I currently have. This will include a bunch of random brands that I didn't know were in my mixed pencil container, because I have one with the Prismacolors, one with the Faber-Castells, and then one with a bunch of random brands that I sort of use every once in a while. So first things first, I am trying out the Sketchbox Signature pencils. I must have got these so long ago. I never really use them. They kind of remind me of school pencils. They don't really seem like artist quality. I'm not trying to diss Sketchbox, because I did use their, well, they used to send me their subscription boxes, and I accumulated a lot of random supplies through them, and these are their own pencil crayons, and I wasn't a big fan, but you'll see me try them out for a little bit. I draw a little fish. Sketchbox is the reason why I have all these random little supplies. It was honestly a really great way to try new things, but a lot of the time I ended up with stuff that I never used and I had to regift or donate to a thrift store. Not every box was super practical to the kind of art that I make, but I also ended up with a lot of really cool pens, markers, pencils, and I ended up with a bunch of random colored pencils, and that's why I have all these like assorted pencils in just a couple colors each, and that's it. The next ones that I had a couple different colors of are the Faber-Castell Goldfaber pencils, and they seem to be $1.50 per pencil when I'm on their website here. According to their website, it says they have excellent light fastness, they're highly pigmented, water resistant, break resistant, easy to sharpen. They seemed like pretty good to me, but I also have been using a lot of the Caran d'Ache luminance pencils, and those are so nice. I really like those pencils. You guys were so right to recommend them to me, but they are so expensive. But these ones are budget friendly. I didn't have a lot of colors to test. I don't think they're like, I didn't like them as much as the other pencils that I have in my collection, and the Polychromos I think are better. in my opinion, and for what I use pencil crayons for. But they're not bad, and better than the Sketchbox signature for sure. Now I am organizing all of my Prismacolor Premier pencils. These have a special place in my heart because I started off with these. I got them so long ago and some of them are still going strong. I've used them throughout art school. I've used them for so many different like paintings to go on top of watercolor, and these have been with me for many, many, many years. Also, side note, I probably shouldn't do this, but I used to have my pencil crayons in my art caddy at my old apartment, and they got direct sun a lot, which was a good indicator for which ones were light fast and which ones were not. You can kind of see one here that faded a lot. I just thought that was kind of interesting. They're known for having soft cores, so they're very buttery, very smooth application. But one thing I've always found with them is the wax bloom. Once you're coloring with them for a while and burnishing and doing lots of layers, it's very shiny and very waxy. And it makes sense that they have this wax bloom problem because they're wax-based pencils. Some of the pencils I'll be using in this video are not wax-based and they didn't really have this issue. It just sort of comes with the territory of colored pencil drawings, and there's ways to combat this, like using fixative sprays, wiping it down. I'm sort of doing more research about wax blooms and colored pencil fixatives that I will go over in the main video, but I just wanted to mention it here as something to consider. So the Prismacolor Premier pencils are in the $2 to $3 range, and I think they're really good for budding artists and professionals alike. The one downside is their quality control isn't always the best. Sometimes you will notice the lead is not centered in the barrel. I think they had a problem with that for a while, and I don't know if it's been resolved. It was many years ago, but I like to sharpen my pencils with a knife, so that kind of avoids the problem of it being crooked inside, because if it's crooked, you don't get a clean sharpen. It's sort of slanted or lopsided. Also, look at this tiny baby pencil. When I pulled it out of the pencil holder, I was like, oh, it's so tiny. I must have used that one a lot. I have a lot of mini pencils like that. Next, I had a bunch of the Chameleon color tone pencils that are double-sided with different colors that complement the other one. It's supposed to help you blend colors better. Their texture isn't bad. I can't really find them online. I don't know if they're discontinued. They're like $0 clearance at Blick, and I can't really like find them anywhere else. They have an Amazon page, but there's no links to buy, so I wouldn't really recommend them anyways. I think they're sort of a gimmick, but they're not bad, and as you can see, I use one of them a lot, so clearly there was some benefits to them. I think I just liked that dark green in particular. There's just something about those hues that I enjoyed. So they're not bad, but like I wouldn't go out of my way to buy more, and I don't even know if it's possible. Then I had 3 Tombow pencils, a gray, yellow, and this brown that I really like, and my head totally got in the way of these shots, but I like them. I would be interested to try more. I think their texture is like, it's sort of like harder but smooth at the same time. But I just have so many pencils, I probably wouldn't go out of my way to get more. And then I had 2 of these Cretacolor Mega Color pencils, and I actually quite like the way they draw. I really like the texture. It's very smooth and buttery and very blendy, and they're huge. They're like twice the size of a normal pencil, and I think they're a lot of fun. The quality seems really good. And at my local art store, so this will be Canadian dollars, they're $2.75, so that's not bad. I would be interested to try more, but I have so many other ones that I want to try first, so I probably won't. So here's what we're working with. These are all the pencils I'm going to use in the big comparison video. Actually, there's more. I ordered more, so they're not all here yet. I just got a small bundle of the new ones, and I'm going to use the existing ones that I already have. But in this video, I'm mainly using the Caran d'Ache luminance pencils and the Holbein colored pencils. Those are the 2 that we're focusing on today because I was the most excited to try those ones. First up, I'm going to show you what I drew with the Holbein pencils and then the Caran d'Ache afterwards. Now to thank the sponsor of this video, which is Squarespace. Because of sponsorships, I'm able to fund videos like this one. Squarespace is an online platform where you can build your very own website. I mainly use Squarespace to host my portfolio, and every time I need to update it, it's pretty easy to just go into the Portfolios and Galleries tool. I upload any new pieces that I've made recently, and I can drag and drop them all to rearrange them in whatever order I want. I would definitely recommend checking out all of their pre-made templates and choosing one that sort of speaks to you, and then you can change so many things about it later on. If you're trying to grow your business online, it's really important to make sure people know where to find your social media accounts. Squarespace makes this very easy to do. You just paste your links in and they'll automatically display the corresponding icon to the social media site. If you've been looking to start a website, head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/JelArts for 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. It really helps support the channel. A lot of you recommended these, and they were hard to get a hold of. They were really hard to find for some reason. The store I usually order from is Jackson's Art Supplies. I live in Canada, and I find that they have pretty cheap shipping. Sometimes I have to pay customs though, so it might not be the best option, but they said they could not sell those to Canada. For some reason, they weren't available in Canada, but a local art store that is actually like just a couple cities away had them. So I ordered from them and got them a couple days later, and I really liked them. I remember a commenter said that they were kind of in between the Prismacolor Premier and faber-castell Polychromos, and I think that is an accurate description. They are more expensive than the Prismacolors that I have, and at my local shop they were just under $5 Canadian. I'll put the US conversion on screen. I also think you can find them for cheaper, but I think right now there's a shortage in Canada or something, as I said, so it was just under $5 for me. And when I buy faber-castell Polychromos, they cost me $3.26, so the Holbein ones are more expensive for me. And honestly, I think I like them more. They might be the ones that I invest more in, but I'm gonna have to use them side by side and see how I feel. I like them both enough. Like they kind of serve different purposes. These Holbein ones, and I don't know if it's Holbein or Holbein. I usually say Holbein, but it's not like I don't think it's an English word, so I'm probably butchering it. But these ones were very nice to blend. They weren't too soft, so you could still get nice details, and the tip kind of held up for a while. It didn't like flatten out and lose its point too quickly. I found the colors blended really well together. I had sort of a limited color palette. I have spring green, burnt sienna, magenta, raisin, lamp black, violet pink, cobalt blue, olive green, viridian, marigold orange, and scarlet. And their scarlet red seems more like a carmine red to me for some reason, or maybe I just don't know my pigments, but it seemed a little more pink than I was expecting. When I was testing out these new pencils, the luminance ones and the Holbein ones, I was really trying to take all of your advice when I was talking about how whenever I use colored pencils, I always find myself pressing too hard and like gripping the pencil too hard and wrecking my wrists and just getting a lot of hand pain. And there was this one comment in particular kind of like emphasizing the fact that pencil crayons take time. If you're going to do something with just pencils, you have to have patience. And I really tried to have patience with these. I tried to, well, with the strawberry in particular, I tried to hold the pencil lighter. I tried to relax a little bit, take my time, do very light marks, press a little harder when I need to. And I also used a lot of different colors within this red strawberry. Despite having sort of a limited palette, I think I was able to get a nice like range of shadows and highlights, a nice range of warms and cools, and I think that's all thanks to layering a bunch of different colors on top of each other. And I totally forgot to film some parts of this. I think my camera died, but there will be more footage of me using these, not to worry. And the strawberry is not quite done. Another thing I did was I took this pencil grip that I got for my Apple Pencil, but it doesn't fit on the Apple Pencil. I ended up getting a different grip, so like, no, I think it fits, but it's not really, it's not the one it's not my main grip. So I've been using it with my colored pencils, and I think it's helped a lot to reduce hand cramping. I think also one of my biggest problems is I hold pencils not quite the right way. I don't like grip them with 3 fingers with my thumb. I sort of let it rest inside my thumb and control it. Like the majority of the control comes from my other fingers, and it's just how I've always done it. I don't really know why or why this started. Maybe it has to do with being left-handed. I can blame, it's always kind of funny to blame a lot of problems on being left-handed when it's probably not the case. But this strawberry was so fun to draw. I was having a really good time just listening to YouTube videos with my little earbud and just really taking my time and having fun seeing the textures slowly come together, pressing lightly, just having a lot of patience with my art that I sometimes lack. And I think patience really pays off, especially with colored pencils. I sort of feel like I had a lot of aha moments when trying out these new brands. And I don't know if that's because the ones I've been using are not really suiting me very well, or they're not quite up to par, because all these new ones that I've been buying are more expensive and came highly recommended. So they probably have a quality jump, and therefore you can have an easier time achieving the look you want because they behave. Like, of course you can draw anything with cheaper supplies. It's just, it might take a little bit more work to compensate for the supply not quite doing its job properly. So when you have these pencils that are so pigmented and there's such good color payoff, it's just easier to achieve the look you have in your head. And also strawberries are kind of easy to draw. I wanted to pick things that I knew how to draw to kind of not stress about what I'm drawing and more about how I'm drawing it and trying to just let these art supplies shine. So far, so good with these Holbein pencils. Thank you to everyone who recommended them to me. I've been having a lot of fun using them. And next up, I want to try out the Caran d'Ache luminance pencils. And these were also so much fun to work with. I bought these on Jackson's Art Supplies and they were $5.10 Canadian or $3.84 USD, which makes them by far the most expensive pencil that I have. And after using them for a few hours, I think it's safe to say that they're definitely worth their price. There's something kind of special about the way they feel when I'm drawing with them. They have a really nice soft quality without being too waxy, and it makes it really easy to blend colors together and to layer, and the color payoff is just so good. But, you know, you have to see if it's worth it for you, because in Canadian dollars, I think I bought about 13 colors. That's like $65, and then plus tax plus shipping. So they are not cheap. I don't know if I would recommend them for beginner artists who have never used colored pencils before and you don't know if you're going to like them yet. I mean, I think we've all grown up using like Crayola pencils and Laurentian and like brands like that, or the Prismacolor Scholar. But if you're looking to get into a higher quality colored pencil, then I think this is a great suggestion. I'm really glad that I gave these a try because they're really just so fun to work with. I actually did this drawing first out of the 3 that I'm showing in this video, and it was honestly just so much fun. I really felt like I was in the groove with these pencils. I was truly taking my time. I felt very content and very relaxed. I was looking at some photos of these giant leaves on Pinterest, and near the end I ended up adding like a little bird character on the top, but you'll see that eventually. I began by doing as many details as I could with one color only. I wanted to highlight the shadows and the highlights with just this one color. I believe it is moss green, and it was a great color for the base of the leaves. And then I went in with a brighter green and went over the shadows, just like slowly added layers of color while pressing light and trying not to hurt my hand and be too heavy-handed from the start. I just found these really easy to layer. It didn't take much pressure to get the color down on top of whatever was already on the page, which I really enjoyed. And I actually originally bought 13 colors, but then I realized that the yellow I got is a little too cool toned, so I ended up ordering a different yellow and a different burnt sienna sort of color later on. But I didn't have the new colors in this video, so the ones that I actually had while filming this video were, I have them in front of me here, burnt sienna, middle cobalt blue, olive yellow, black, purplish red, beryl green, grass green, scarlet, lemon yellow, which is a cooler yellow, and I kind of regretted getting a cooler yellow. I prefer more of a warm yellow to work with, more of a neutral / warm yellow, moss green that I used a lot for the leaves, malachite green, violet, and light cobalt blue. And I noticed that the burnt sienna from the Caran d'Ache luminance pencils was completely different from the Derwent light fast pencils. So I was sort of expecting more of a warm orangey brown, and that's what the Derwent one was. So when I was placing in order for different pencil crayons, I decided to get the warmer yellow, like I said, and I also got burnt ochre, and that was more the color that I was expecting. I guess burnt sienna can mean different things to different brands, different levels of burnt, maybe. I don't really know how it works. And since I only got 13 colors for this, I was worried I wouldn't have enough to do drawings that I wanted to do, but I actually got a nice range of natural earthy colors, and layering pencil crayons on top of each other can create new colors. You can actually do a lot more than you think with a limited color palette like this. Something that I was really trying to do with these leaves was to slowly add color and sort of take a step back and see what it needs, and not be afraid to make some areas very, very dark and leave some other areas very light. And I found that going in with sharper pencils every once in a while to define certain edges and to clarify some areas was very helpful. I sometimes get stuck in this idea that, like, if I'm doing something that's more, quote, realistic, then I can't have line art because line art doesn't exist in real life. But then I just tried to remind myself, this is not realism. I'm just doing a drawing in my own style, how I want it to look. And if I want to add outlines, then I can add outlines. So like I said, I love these pencils, and I can't wait to keep using them in my art and see how they go with watercolor and like mixed media, because when I was testing them out here, I'm doing purely pencil work. And in my day-to-day drawing, I tend to mix supplies a lot. So I'm thinking in my bigger video where I compare all the brands together, I will also do a mixed media test for them and do my usual way of working and see which one lends itself the nicest to that way of working, and also do some purely pencil drawings to see which ones stand on their own the best. And best is subjective because everyone has different preferences for art supplies that they use, but it'll just be my thoughts and things that I discovered, and hopefully give some insight into the differences between these brands and things to consider when making the choice to buy one over the other. And I think a lot of the time people will have multiple different types of pencils for different tasks, and I can totally see why, like I do that too. That's the whole reason why I've mainly been using the Prismacolor Premier and faber-castell Polychromos, because the Premier are very thick, they have a soft core, and they lay down very nicely on top of watercolor and mixed media stuff. And you can sort of draw on top of dark areas with them because they are so opaque and easy to get onto the page. But the faber-castell Polychromos are less soft and better for details and keeping a sharper point, and they're just good for different things. So I wasn't sure what to do with all this footage that I have. I have so much footage of me coloring these leaves, and I didn't want to cut out too much of the process because I think it's useful to see like every step that I did and how I layered the colors and things like that. So I'm going to leave the natural drawing sounds of the video, and feel free to skip to the next drawing if you want. I'll put chapters below, but if you want to see this whole process, you can keep watching for a few minutes and I'll be back when I start the next drawing. So now we have another drawing with the Holbein pencils. I forgot that I did this one, honestly. I would have put it with the strawberry, but I think it's good to like balance it out. So I did a little bit of it at the beginning, then I did the Caran d'Ache luminance, and now I'm back to these pencils. So maybe you can see a difference between them. I'm not really sure. But I have to say that I really enjoyed the colors that I chose for the luminance pencils over these ones. I was finding it harder to achieve the same look with the color range that I had in the Holbein pencils, but they were still very nice to use. They're not as blendy or soft as the luminance ones, I think, in my opinion. I still really like both of them. I think they both have a really great color payoff. The Caran d'Ache ones just feel a little bit softer. So when you're going over multiple layers, the layers below kind of softly smudge into one another, which gives this really nice blended appearance. But I don't think the Holbein pencils do this as easily as the Caran d'Ache ones, so they could be better for finer details, and the Caran d'Ache ones are better for like blending and more like smooth, smudged look. That's the impression that I got from this. I'm not sure if that is a common consensus between these two pencils, but that's sort of what I gathered. I don't think I would say that one is better than the other, especially since the Holbein pencils aren't as expensive as the luminance ones. But I think for my personal preference and like, I don't know, it's hard to say because when I was drawing these clovers, I didn't enjoy it as much as when I drew the strawberry. So it could be the color range that I have. I just had really nice colors for the strawberry, or maybe I just like using the red tones. It was a nice change from the foliage colors. Or maybe there really is a noticeable difference. I'm going to have to use them more to see for sure, but I like them both a lot. I think they're both really nice pencils. They feel different though, and I can't quite put my finger on exactly why they feel different. I think the best way to summarize it, like I've kind of been trying to explain, is that the luminance pencils are a bit softer than the Holbein ones. Let me know if you have tried both of these brands and if you feel the same or if you feel differently. They're both quite nice. I had so much fun trying these new supplies, and I will probably do one other video where I try some of my other pencils that I recently bought. It will be the Derwent Light Fast pencils and the Caran d'Ache watercolor pencils. I got a tip from a friend about them and how they are very like buttery and nice to use, and I'm going to try them out without using water to see how they perform, and then maybe I'll try adding some water. But the point of this video is to mostly compare colored pencils that are not meant to be used with water, because I just want to keep them all in the same playing field, because watercolor pencils are different than regular ones. But they're sort of like an extra fun addition that I wanted to try out because I heard great things about them from a friend and other people seem to like them too. I am very excited to do that video where I try the Derwent ones and the Caran d'Ache. They're called Museum Aquarelle pencils, so they're watercolor and they are light fast under museum conditions. And I think that's what light fast usually means. It's light fast under museum conditions. I think most of the new ones that I purchased are very light fast, which is good. I don't think the Prismacolor ones are as light fast. It depends on the color too. But we will get into the nitty-gritty details of everything in the big comparison video. These are sort of prequels to that. So this is the first prequel. I'll probably have one more, and then I'll have a big video where I compare and contrast all of the pencils and give my thoughts, sort of like a tier list of colored pencils. So I'm really excited to keep working on this project. After the colored pencil videos, I will be doing acrylic markers. So if there are any acrylic marker brands that you want me to try out, I will definitely do that. So far, I am doing Ardex, Ohuhu, Copic, and Posca, and I'm trying to get this other company called Enmi to maybe try out their paint markers. So I really hope that you enjoyed this video. It was a really fun process for me to make. I love diving into new supplies, and it's been really fun to learn more about them too. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any other insight to add. I'm always open to learning new things, and if I got anything wrong, please let me know as well. I really appreciate if you got to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.